Alright, now that you have finished row 10 and you have those lovely chain spaces in your corners, now we're going to go on to row 11. So what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to double crochet in each stitch up to the corner chain space. And the corner chain spaces are important because they build the structure into the back of the cardigan. So by the time you're finished with this row, you'll have that nice, you'll be able to kind of see how it's going to work. And we're just double crocheting in each stitch. This is a fairly straightforward round. Nothing too flashy or too fancy, except for the color change. Alright. And we're almost to the corner. Okay, so by the time you reach the corner, you should have, including your chain 3, 30 double crochets. Okay, so now we're at the corner. Let me zoom in a little so you can see it. Okay, so then we're going to double crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet. Now when you start the next bunches, or the next bunch rather, double crochets, you want to make sure that you start in this little kind of hidden, I'm going to just put on the side, this little hidden kind of loop right there. So you want to double crochet in there, and then you'll just keep on going. And I'll meet you up. Oh, goodness. Once I get to the end of the round, and then I'll tell you how to go to the next round. So the next round, I believe, let me look real quick, is the armholes. It is, and we're to the important part of where we're going to make sure that our measurements match up. So I will see you at the end of the row. Alright, now that we're coming up to the end of our row, we just have a few double crochets left to do. Oh goodness, and then of course I got it stuck. Okay, then we're in the corner space, so 1 double crochet, chain 2, our second double crochet, and then I'm just going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain, which is right up here. Alright, now at this point, you need to break out your measuring tape here. I'm just gonna put a stitch marker here so don't pull anything out while trying to measure. Alright. So I'll go like this. So you want to have it like this, just to where there's 2 points at the top and 1 point at the bottom. Let me zoom out here so you can actually see it. Okay, so you want it so you have 2 up here and 1 down here, and you're going to measure. Now this is how you're going to measure for how it's going to sit on your back. So it should be across the top. Anywhere from 11, or no, it should be about 12 inches across. So You might have to kind of, because there's plenty of stretch in this, don't worry. So probably would help if I wasn't on that corner, because it's hard to see my corners there. Okay, just make sure I'm looking at my things correctly. Okay, so across the top should be about 12 inches. Might be a little more, might be a little less, and then across these stitches here should be anywhere from 17 to 18 inches. Now, and then you should have measured, or you should know about what your width is from your, or for your shoulders. But if you're not sure, what you do is you take your tape, you put it from your shoulder, just on the outside of your shoulder, to the other side of your shoulder, and that width should be about what it is across here. Or do from, if you're a female, do from about, or if you have a bra, do from about the outer edges of your bra strap to the other outer edge of your bra strap, and that should give you about the measurement across the top. If you find that this is too small, you can easily repeat this row again until it, again and again, until it is the correct size, or the size that fits you. I know that when I was initially testing this pattern, and this is the first pattern I ever released, so there's still a few kinks in the system from when I first wrote it. I know I had to have one of my testers, she had to make it bigger to fit herself. The reason I like using the 3-weight instead of the 4-weight is you keep the same size hook, which is a J, and what it does is it makes it to where it has a little more stretch in the fabric. You can always go up a hook size, or if you need it smaller, you can always go down a hook size. So, and that's about what it should be. Now we're going on to, oh, now we're going to be making the armholes. So, what we do is we're going to single crochet in each stitch. So that means even this stitch too. So go in, pull up a loop. Oh, you know what, actually? Haha, before we do that, chain 1, then single crochet in the same space. So single crochet. So we're gonna do single crochets until we get to the first chain space. So just single crochet in every stitch. I've been doing too many doubles because I keep trying to do double crochet when single crochets are just all you have to do. Let me kind of zoom back in again. Almost to the chain space. We'll get there eventually. Okay. look and see what you have to do. Okay, so now that we've made it to the chain space, we're going to single crochet in the chain space. Then you're going to chain 30. Now this chain, what you're going to want to do after you do this first part, I would suggest that you try it on. Apologies for the bird. That you try it on and make sure that it has enough give and it doesn't feel too tight. So let's do the chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whoops, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Alright. So now that we've done 30, we're going to single crochet into the chain space. So, put that down so you can see it a little better. This is going to be your armhole, your first armhole. I would suggest that you put like a stitch marker in here and you try it, you test it, make sure it fits. It should feel, you should chain your, or when you're chaining, you should chain your chains loosely so you have a little more give, because you're going to chain, or the next row you're going to crochet directly into the chain. So yeah, there's that. Alright, so on to so to continue, until we single crochet into the chain space. Let me just double check. Okay, and then we're going to single crochet in each stitch until the next chain space. So just now, if you didn't choose, or if you didn't try it on here, I would suggest after you do your next one that you try it on, just to make sure that it fits if you're making this garment for yourself. If you're making it for someone else, just make sure that it's loose so it doesn't fit too tight. I generally don't, when I'm designing my garments, I'm one of those people, I don't like it to be too tight on my arms. So that's why most of the time, like, you'll see that it's fairly loose. And that's why that's why I'm suggesting that you try it on. If you find that it's too tight, you can always add more chains. If you find that it's too loose, you can always take some chains away. That just happens to be my personal preference. Alright, so now we're back to chain space. So we're single crochet in there. Then we're going to chain our 30 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Then we're going to go all the way to the next one. We're just going to single crochet right in there. Excuse the bird. So then we're going to single crochet and stitches until we get to the last remaining chain space, because if you remember, we had 5. Okay, see what I'm doing. somehow I managed to miss that. You guys got to see it. I have to say, that's one of my things I like about YouTube tutorials, is when you get to see that these people who obviously have spent a lot of time honing their craft, sometimes they make the same mistakes the rest of us do. Okay, now that we're at the chain space, we're almost back to the beginning. Okay, so we do 2 single crochet in the chain space. So 1, 2, chain 2, 2 more single crochet, 1, 2, single crochet in this last stitch, and then find your initial single crochet, and you're gonna slip stitch right into it, and that finishes up round 12. Now I'm going to suggest again that you really try it on and you make sure that it fits, just because you don't want to have to do all that hard work and it not have it fit, but you should. That's another reason why you want to measure, you know, between here, because these will be, or because this is basically your armhole when you measure along the top. So that'll be your arm. Just double check. I would make sure that it fits you right at this moment in time, and then I'll see you at the next round. Alright, now this round is super easy. So what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1, single crochet, and then you're going to single crochet in every stitch until you get to the chain space. And when you get to the chain space, it is going to be the 2 single crochet, chain 2, 2 single crochet. So here, I'll just do the first bit with you until we get to the arms. That means when you do the arms, or the armholes, you're going to do a single crochet in each one of the chain spaces. So I'll single crochet with you up to there. What I'm curious to know is what everybody's favorite crochet stitch is. Mine is the V stitch. I know I've mentioned that before, but I really like the V stitch. I feel like it's something that adds a little detail without having to be over the top with it. It's something that's simple and easy. Okay, now we're going to do in the chain spaces. So part of the reason why, because I know that when I do chains, I tend to be tight on them for whatever reason, so I make a conscious effort to make them loose, because I want to make sure that I can go into them. And make sure that I can, you know, especially if I have to work into them. But you want to just keep making sure that you single crochet into each stitch. almost finished with the row. I don't know about any of you, but I find armholes to be one of the more tedious parts when it comes to making a garment. But since I'm one of those people that I like to try and make it in one piece, then it's really my own fault since that's the way I designed it. Oh, there it is. Downside sometimes of chaining too loose. It makes it a little hard to actually see the stitch. Okay, so there, we've done our single crochets to our armhole. Now what you're going to do is you're going to finish the remainder of the row, single crochet in every stitch, and then I'll meet you up when it's time to do the chain space and to finish the row. Alright, now that we're at the end of the row, or almost to the end rather, okay, we're at the chain space, so we're going to do 2 single crochet, 1, 2, chain 2, and then 2 more single crochet in the chain space. And then we're going to single crochet in the remaining spaces. And then we're going to slip stitch to that first single crochet. Alright, now let me zoom out. Now this is what your piece should look like. It's going to curl in on itself a little bit, that's fine. And then you've got this little bit of detail down here. So that is the end of row 13, I believe. Yes, row 13. So now we're going to head on to row 14. Now row 14 is going to be easy enough. We're going to chain 3, so 1, 2, 3. That's going to count as double crochet. And we're going to double crochet in each stitch. Now just go ahead and double crochet all the way around until you come back to the chain space over here, right here at the end of the row. And I'll tell you what to do next. Alright, we're almost to the end of row 14. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish off. So do last couple of double crochets before you get to the chain space. Then we're going to do 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, into the chain space. We're going to chain 2. Then we're going to do 2 more double crochets. 1, 2. And then we're going to double crochet in the remaining stitches. Then we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain. And that's the end of row 14. Now, let me zoom out again. It's one of those things, you can see that it's curling in on itself, but this is actually starting to build the front panel of your cardigan when it kind of closes in. So we only have a few more rows and then we're done with the body. Alright, I'll see you in the next step. Alright, now for row 15, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip the next stitch, which is this one right here. And then we're going to double crochet in the next one. So the repeat, and we're going to chain 1. So the repeat is you gotta skip a stitch. So the repeat is double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch. And you're just gonna keep doing that all the way around until we get to the chain space. Now you can't see this because he's just off camera, but one of my cats is actually watching me film this. He thinks it's fascinating. But he's kind of a silly cat anyway. Okay, now we're done. A good bit. And you just keep going around until you end back up at the chain space, and I'll tell you what to do when we get there. Alright, we're coming up to the end of the row here. So we're still doing the double crochet, chain 1, skip a space. Sometimes I have to double check and make sure I actually skip the space. Alright, so now we're at the chain space. We did our double crochet in our chain 1. So what we're going to do, instead of skipping, we're going to just double crochet right in, chain 1, double crochet in again. Pretty sure, let me just double check. Chain 1, and then we're going to skip this first stitch. We're going to chain, go in there. And then just continue until you get back to the beginning. There should be, okay, good, it did line up right. For a second I was going to be like, maybe it won't line up right. You'll have to watch me frog it. But nope, it lined up all right. So there's that 1, and then slip stitch in the 3rd chain. So 1, 2, 3. And then you'll have that 4th chain there. And there we go. And that's the end of row 15. I'll meet you on the next.